Have you ever wondered what it's like to guide others on the profound spiritual journeys of the sacred mushroom? Well, today I'm going to share with you the highs, the lows, and everything in between of my first year as a sacred mushroom ordained minister. The purpose of this video is to share with you my experience as an ordained minister, the insights that I've gathered along the year, and also where I want to take it next. Before we jump in, I need to mention that every microdosing journey is unique and subjective. So use caution when first approaching mushrooms on your journey, especially if you have a medical condition or are taking any kinds of medication. Reach out to your physicians. Find a community of people that have experiences and are knowledgeable that you can trust in getting some additional guidance while going on your own microdosing or mushroom journey. You can always sign up to apply with me, and you can join Psanctuary. Prior to joining the Psanctuary universe, I used to only go on macrodose trips every 3 to 6 months, depending when I felt this calling come about. But under Psanctuary's suggestion, we are to take microdoses on a consistent basis, whatever that looks like for us individually. Because everyone's gonna have a different experience with the mushrooms, you can't really predetermine if they're supposed to take it every other day, every 3 days, once a week, so on and so forth. So that was definitely an experience to learn how to take microdoses on a consistent basis for myself, and then also to guide others on what that would look like for them. When I first approached microdosing, I was taking way too much and my experiences weren't that great, but they get better. Personally, I still don't feel inclined to take microdoses. I feel that they make me too emotional than I want to be at times, and for me, it still just benefits to have that macrodose experience every so often rather than taking a microdose as often. However, recently, I do have to admit, I've been taking microdoses again, and I feel like the emotions are not there like they used to be because I've actually reduced the amount of the microdose so that it is truly a microdose. And I think that is the key to having the proper microdoses when you don't feel it at all. This is when I learned what a true microdose is for me. But there's also a benefit that comes along when you have that dose that hits that psychedelic threshold where you start feeling that there's just a different sensation within your body and that things are just a little different in reality, basically. There's a lot of benefit to it. I find that that's actually where I can push myself just a little bit harder with working out, in my stamina, in my strength, and also with my ability to do pull. I don't feel the fear that I have unconsciously when I am doing pull on a little bit of a higher microdose around that psychedelic threshold amount. Depending on what our subjective microdose is, we may even get a boost of creativity, ability to problem solve a lot more effectively, and to speak more clearly. Others have told me that some of the doses are actually not that strong for them, that they need a little bit higher dose. So each one of us is going to have a unique experience with dosing. For example, my husband has a smaller dose than I do. However, I know other individuals out there that have higher doses than I do. So it's all a unique journey and experience for you, and it takes some time to figure out what dose works best with you to achieve the goals that you're trying to achieve with your microdose. Spiritually, it's helped me evolve and see the real true connectedness that I have with others and how that benefits me mentally, just to not feel alone during challenging times that make me feel alone. And I think that is the most important part, is knowing that you have others there for you. And that's why community is so important to have when you're going on any of the mushroom journeys, whether it is a microdose or a macrodose. Having people there to support your thoughts that emerge from your microdose or mushroom experience, rather, that gives you insights and messages and spiritual guidance that you may question and not know, is it the right thing to do or not? It's good to get some feedback from others. Psanctuary is a great place to join for a community of like-minded individuals, and I hope that you can experience it. It's always free for you to join on Sundays for service, and you can listen in, and if you want to become a member, there's other benefits that come along with that too. I do have to say that I really thought before I started Psanctuary that mushrooms were really miraculous, that they were there and provided me with the healing that I sought after from my PTSD, from my depression. I thought, man, I haven't had any kind of effects like that in so long, and I swear that these mushrooms provided that healing for me. They unpacked something within my past that needed to be untied or untwisted and worked through, that just made me feel clear and amazing all the time. And boy, was I wrong. Last year, it hit me that hard, that it hit me really hard. This depression that took me over, and I really thought that there was no end in sight of it again. I hadn't had this type of depression in a long time, and I don't know if this one was a deeper, darker depression than the first one. I'm not going to try to compare them, but it just really sucked. And it was in a moment that just made me realize all around the world that people are becoming more selfish, not caring about one another, and that there's just a challenging economy with the inflation, and that there isn't a lot of job opportunities, and AI is taking over our jobs. And it just made me feel this despair that I was stuck in this lifestyle and never going to be able to get out of it. And I didn't give up. I stuck to it. I did not take the mushrooms while it was during these times, because it wasn't wise for me to take the mushrooms during these times. I think if I did, it would have made it worse for myself. But through the mushrooms after effects, I believe, I was able to still be a little bit more open than I was the first time I ever got depressed. And I think that's the biggest thing, is communicating these feelings, even when they're hard to say, even when they really suck. Just being able to talk about it makes such a big difference in how you recover and cope with things. I'm very thankful I didn't react to the situation that was happening outwardly. I was very composed, and I think a miracle happened. So I'm very excited and thankful that things can change. It doesn't mean that what's happening right now is going to happen forever. Just have faith that seasons come and go, change is inevitable. So over time, things will evolve. The reason why this actually started for me last year was partially my fault. I will not deny that. But I also had let some people in my life that I should have been more aware of in being able to manage the situation, or personalities within certain situations. And you know what? There are lessons now that I've learned to not do again in the future. So I'm very thankful for that. But at the time, it really sucked that these people got into my head. So first off, I want to just say the more positive things about how this journey has been for me. It all started in June 2023 when I've completed my subtle sacrament, my self-minister. And there was someone that I knew that wanted me to sit with them, and they went on their experience. And then they wanted to go on another experience. And I would ask this individual if they were having experiences during, and there were times when this person was just staring into a tree and looked back and said, yes, they're having conversations with the tree, which would signify that they are having experience, but they would come out and say that, oh no, I didn't have an experience, which is very peculiar. But you know, everyone has a unique way of approaching the mushrooms, and this individual really wanted to have some kind of spiritual awakening, and I think the expectations were a lot higher and caused the mushrooms to not take as strong of effect as he was expecting, because he took albino penis envy mushrooms, and those are some of the strongest ones out there. And there was a point where he took 7 grams of it, and that should blast you off beyond scope. And he acted like there was nothing changing within him. That same weekend was the wellness weekend that he took that much. And I also had a couple of other participants there. Those same albino penis envy mushrooms, those individuals took 3 grams, and they were having the most glorious experience. And then something happened for one individual where they felt a little bit more drawn out, that something was going on internally for them, challenging them. And I took it upon myself to change the atmosphere for them, to make them feel more calm, more loved, more accepted, and felt really good that they overcame the situation and actually came out of it and said that was really, really tough. And at first they said that they were never going to do that again because it was really, really dark and scary. But lo and behold, later on, they said that they would do it again because it actually brought some lessons and understandings for them that they didn't have before. So after this, about a month or so, I had a one-on-one client that wanted to do a macrodose experience with me. She shared that she had some struggles with her family growing up and wanted to do this journey to hopefully unlock some things from that. She felt a little anxious even though she had taken some microdoses before. So she asked me if I would break up the session into smaller sessions, and I agreed. However, at one point, I missed an expectation of hers, and it didn't satisfy her at all. And she started to get upset with me. And I just think that things can be handled in a more respectful way. And instead, she tried to get into my head. And at the same time, I had something terrible happen, and it was just crushing my soul. And over time, it got to me. Even though I thought I could be the strong individual that's anti-fragile, that wouldn't let something like this get to me, it got to me. It's gonna get to me. And for a while, I thought that it really knocked me down, and that I wasn't going to be able to get back up. I didn't want to continue this ministry journey at all. I said, that was tough. That was enough. I don't want to be involved in people's lives. And if this is how people are going to be to me, what's the point? But over time and over talking it out with several other people, I realized that I do have a purpose with this, as I have found a lot of healing through my past with the issues that I've had in this sacred plant. And I know that there's other people that deserve that too. So that's why I'm here, to help them. Those are my people. And after that, I only did microdose journeys, just to ease myself back into it with people. And surprisingly, there was a local store here in Aurora that wanted to do some classes with me. So I definitely signed up and did those classes, and it was a great experience thus far. I think a lot of people enjoyed it. I've met incredible people through it that I've had the most glorious conversations with that just light up my life. And yeah, there's like a lot of struggle still with certain people where they have challenges with their families and issues and relationships and whatnot, but they're not giving up. They're going to try to get back up and try again. And that is the number one lesson that comes out of mushrooms, is that it's not going to defeat you. It's not going to make you weak. It's going to make you stronger and more able to handle anything that comes at you that's challenging. And that is why I preach the anti-fragile mindset, because that is what we need to be able to really be the powerful people that we are. Not letting anything get to us, but be respectful to one another too. I also wanted to share about the Let's Take a Trip Microdose experience that we had in Aurora. It was an experience with the albino penis envy with 5 different individuals that took their doses, and I was expecting them to have severe experiences like the ones with 3 grams at Wellness Weekend. Same mushrooms, the albino penis envies. They're sponsored by Level, that's why they're provided to all the participants that come along with my journeys together. And Level is the sponsor of these mushrooms, so they're always going to be the same mushrooms. Thank you to our sponsors for providing these mushrooms during these experiences. We are very much grateful, as they are very potent, and the onset is actually pretty quick. Usually it takes 30 minutes to 45 minutes, and with albino penis envies, it takes about 15 minutes. And these people, some of them had somewhat of an experience. One person, actually 2 people, had very heightened experiences, and one person said that they fell asleep during the experience, which I actually think that they did have an experience. It was kind of like a dreamlike state that they had, because during the journeys, we ask everyone to take a position on the floor, lay back down, close your eyes. If you want to have an eye mask, go for it. But you don't necessarily have to have one, as this journey is personal to you, and you don't want to have any distractions or anything that could potentially deter your journey that is personal to you in a different direction than what it's supposed to be going down. So that's pretty much how all my journeys have been held this whole year, is under the Psanctuary's orders of having it be a personal reflection. And I think that there is a space for that. Personally, I love going on journeys like that, but I think that to the newcomers out there, they have expectations of someone as a guide being that one that's going to actually give you instructions during the whole process of your journey, to tell you what to do. But again, that would influence your journey to go in a different direction than when it's supposed to naturally go down through the process of the mushrooms providing the messages that are personalized to you. That was a lot. I think if I have someone that I'm working with as the Microdose Mentor and they would like some wellness coaching or they would like some business coaching, they want to be inspired with creative ambitions again within their business, I can help them achieve that through the Microdose Mentor coaching. On the flip side, I still want to have a space for those that want to just journey on their own under the Psanctuary instruction. So I'm going to be hosting events still at a lower cost, since there's not going to be much going on with me involved except making sure that you're in a safe, sacred space, that you feel comfortable and safe to go on your journey. But I'm very excited about these next steps of where I want to go with the microdose journey and the potential it could provide to those out there that are trying to optimize their lives or trying to achieve something that could just use a little extra boost of creativity from the mushrooms. So those challenging times could actually be profound experiences for you if you let them be. If we remove the label of them being challenging and actually fall into them and accept them, they could provide you with some kind of answer or message that you've been needing to hear or see that could take you to the next level you, the next season of you. Number one thing when you are facing any challenging times throughout your experiences is to have anchors set in place ahead of time before you go there into those different realities, so that you can feel more comfortable when you're there. Meaning, have people that you feel safe with, have an environment that you feel good in, have different things that make you feel good. Having things there to just give you comfort. Like for me, it's a squishmallow that just brings me back to home base where I feel grounded again and safe and secure. So I'm curious to hear from you about how your mushroom experiences go. So make sure to drop your comments below with any of your experiences, with messages that have come up for you, or just anything that's spiritual significant to you that you'd like to share. I'd love to hear from you. Now, if you're interested in becoming a Psanctuary ordained minister, you can definitely sign up through Psanctuary.org. They have different cohorts that open up at different points of the year. So just make sure to sign up on the email so that you can be notified of when the next cohort is going to be live for you to apply for. But in the meantime, every Sunday, there's Sunday services that's free to the public through a Zoom link. That's 30 minutes of recorded service and then an hour and a half of integration discussions that are coming from readings that we have in service that will inspire you and give you a better understanding of what mushrooms can do for you. Thanks for watching my first spiritual year journey as an ordained sacred mushroom minister from Psanctuary. As this experience has been eye-opening, profound, inspirational, and so spiritual. And I'm glad that I can share that with you. So thank you again for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, it'd be helpful if you could just like it. And if it spoke to you and you'd like to share this message with someone, please make sure to share it. And if you want to continue these conversations together, please make sure to subscribe.